Good morning, guys, and welcome to Bernadoodle's Barnyard. It's Saturday, July 19th. It's going to be a very busy weekend. Starting off, I have to butcher 30 rabbits, so that's what I'm getting to now. Good morning, guys. It's the next day. I ended up butchering 28 of the 30 rabbits. I'm holding back 2 of the females just in case I decide I want to use them. Once I butcher them, it's too late, obviously, so I need to rethink the future of my herd and decide how many does I actually want to breed. So I'll be getting that new buck probably next week, and I want to breed him to everybody and see what they're producing for offspring. I'm not sure how many does I want to be using at this point. Making a venison stroganoff meal for dinner. It is way too hot for hot food. I should have picked a cooler meal, but it should be really tasty. So here I have 1 summer squash cut really thin, 4 cans of mushrooms, some homemade red wine, 3 onions, a head of garlic. Then I did some thyme, parsley, beef bouillon, pepper. Putting it over some bow tie noodles. I have to brown up 3 pounds of ground venison. Once I get the meat browned up and everything put back in the big pot, I'm going to add a bunch of this homemade goat's cream. I forgot to add, there's also goat's butter and olive oil in this mix, and a splash of lemon juice. All of the babies are in the main girl herd right now. The 2 neutered boys still haven't found a home, but Wesley here most likely has a home. She just hasn't been able to make it yet. The other guy who was going to get the big buck and Inigo backed out, so still need to find them a home. The reason I'm locking them up in this little spot at night is because Clarabelle has been sticking her head through the 4x4 fencing and getting stuck with her little horns, and I'm scared a predator is going to come by and just find her with her head stuck in the fence. So I've been locking them up in here, giving them breakfast, and then letting them out every day. And they still haven't figured out how to go down to pasture, except the little boys, which I put in here yesterday, did follow the big girls out. Just my 3 girls haven't figured out how to go get grass. So with all the baby goats now in the main pen, this pen is now vacant. So my husband had a really lovely idea. I'm going to take all the electric netting, and I need to do some trimming work before I can do it, but I'm going to give the chickens a little bit of a extra run so they can go eat bugs and play and get out of that coop for once. So normally I don't let them out of that coop at all because I just don't want them to get eaten, and the likelihood of me losing all of my laying hens to a predator is really high if I let them out of there. I have a bunch of predators, including coyotes, bobcats, raccoons, possums. Lots of things will eat a chicken. So in this new setup, which I'm going to let them have for a while, the only thing I really have to worry about is going to be hawks. So they're going to be mostly under cover of trees, so it's unlikely they should be attacked by a hawk, but it's a risk. So hopefully that doesn't happen. All of the remaining bunnies are doing really well. So I have the 2 mothers with bunnies. This girl has 7 alive, and the other mother has 5. Tango, how are your babies this morning? So this fur is a problem. It allows for poop to build up and make a mess. And it's a lot harder to clean, so I'll be cleaning all that out of there soon and removing the nest box pretty soon. I flipped the nest box a lot earlier than normal, but the bunnies were all getting out. So I'd rather have it that they can get in and out on their own accord than be trapped out of the nest. So I'm assuming that's due to the really hot weeks we've had that they needed to get out, or maybe mom was just accidentally pulling them out, one of the two. The last rabbit that was due didn't really pull any fur, so I'm assuming she is not pregnant, which I don't mind at this point. It's just been a very hot month, so I'm just gonna double check dates and then I'll take this nest out of here. So a lot of people think when you get goats that you don't have to mow anymore. That's just not gonna be true. They do a really good job at eating through brush and making it easier to clean up your property, but they don't eat everything, and mowing is still a main thing that we do out here on the farm. My husband spends full Saturdays doing it all the time. So this weekend he spent almost the entire Saturday mowing and cleaning up all the fences. Areas such as the walking path all the way around the property need to be maintained so we can walk. This area here we're not mowing because we're going to put goats on it, but as soon as the goats are done eating that area, we have to mow it also. So even though they're going to eat a lot of it, they're going to pick what they like, and they're going to leave a bunch of stuff, including all the stocky grass they don't like. So they're going to come in here. They might eat the seeds off the top of all this stuff, but they're going to leave a bunch of stuff sticking up that you're still going to have to mow. So mowing is a huge deal on the farm here. And then every time we move the electric fence, we have to mow under the new one. While the goats do eat poison ivy, which is nice, they never actually kill all the poison ivy for me. So we still have to go around and get rid of that so that we don't get poison ivy that we're touching. When you have such crazy high grass to deal with, a regular mower really doesn't work. It doesn't get through it. So we either have to use the bush hog, or what my husband does a lot of, especially along all the walking paths every couple of weeks, is we have a weed whacker style one that's a push behind, but it has a weed whacker type blade, so that eats through most of the really tall grass. So long story short, what I'm getting at is that the myth that goats will eat anything including a tin can is just not true. They're actually quite picky. They're going to only pick the things they want to eat out of a pasture and out of their forage, and then you're going to have to clean up the rest of it. So don't assume they're going to clear an area. And if you do have an area that is completely cleared out by goats to the ground, that means you're probably not feeding them enough. They're going to avoid the things they don't like, especially poisonous things. And if you're not giving them enough, they might eat it all to the ground, which means they're going to get parasites, and they're going to be eating things that aren't nutritious to them or are really bad for them because they're hungry. So once they start looking to the other side of the fence is really when you want to be moving them, because they don't have anything left in their pasture is what they're telling you. The other thing my husband spent this weekend doing, which is really nice of him, is trimming all along our fence lines. So I can't stress this enough. You need to keep your fence lines clean. Sometimes the goats will clear it, which is great. But if they're not over there, you have to trim it, because fencing is really expensive, and what's going to end up taking out your fence more than anything is going to be the vines and all the other plant life growing up in it. You really want to keep those lines clean. And if you put your goats on it, that's a good way to help. Here are 22 of the rabbits. They're going to be soaking in salt water. And then I have 6 I'm going to grill up and eat for the next couple days worth of lunches and dinners. Boris is very happy with his rabbit dinner. I give him all of the organ meat I don't eat and also the feet, tails, and heads. I've never had an issue with him digesting the fur or the bones when they're raw. I've heard that freezing them can cause the bones to be brittle, so I don't freeze the bones and then give it to him, only fresh. The only time I've ever had issues with him is when I gave him a hind leg of an older rabbit. I think the bone was just a little too hard and one of the supporting bones, the femur, so I will avoid that in the future. But other than that, he's loving his dinner, which is really good for him. So this is all the meat that's left from the 6 rabbits I cooked last night after we all had rabbit for dinner and also a sandwich for lunch. So good amount of meat left. I'll be using this for sandwiches for lunch and to put in dinner for the next couple nights. I chose to spice this with black pepper, granulated garlic, and powdered sage this time. Thanks for joining me, guys. Please remember to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. We'll see you next time on Bernadoodle's Barnyard. Have a nice day.